We'll go ahead and get started with the candidate forum. Thank you all for being here. This means a lot to the candidates, and it will be informative for you. Our purpose is that you learn so that you can decide and vote. So let's go with that. I'm Lori Addicks, and I'll be serving as the moderator, really MC would be a better term this evening. And let me just start by going over a few process details first, and then we'll get right into it. I hope that you are all registered, because that was April 8th that should have happened. So counting on that. Ballots were mailed last Friday, and I received mine yesterday, so I'm in Gallatin, and I suspect a number of you have gotten yours as well. And you want to target to mail those in no later than Tuesday, April 30th. It takes a 68-cent stamp. That's the same as the forever stamps. So if you got stamps on hand, you're good to go. One stamp will do it. Our process this evening, and thank you for those of you who did submit questions to the Explore Big Sky poll. We did a survey to gather questions from you. We were incorporating those into the questions that the candidates will be asked. If your question is not asked, hunt down your candidates and pose those to them. We got a good response, and we won't be able to use everything. The candidates will each have 3 minutes to answer each question that they will be responding to. And there will not be any follow-up questions from any of you or from me. So what we get is what we get. They did receive the questions in advance so that they could be prepared. Some of them have been timing it to make sure they come in on the money. And no follow-up questions. So who's running for what? Big Sky School District has 2 positions. Those are 3-year terms, and there are 4 candidates. You see those 4 candidates seated up here at the moment. The Big Sky Resort Area District, which I may refer to as BSRAD as well, they have 3 positions. They're 4-year terms, and there are 5 candidates. The Big Sky Water and Sewer District has 3 positions, 4-year terms, and they have 4 candidates. And I'll be providing you with all of the names here shortly. The Big Sky Fire Department, there are 2 positions. They're 3-year terms. There are 2 candidates. So we have the first on this list of those that we refer to as being acclaimed. I Googled acclaimed because I really didn't know what that meant. They will not be on the ballot, and they are not being contested, is essentially what acclaimed will mean. The Yellowstone Mountain Club Fire Department, Rural Fire Department, has 1 candidate who is acclaimed as well and will not be on the ballot. Ennis, so we're shifting to Madison County here. Ennis School District has 2 seats. They're 3-year terms, 6 candidates. We have several of them here this evening. And only Madison County residents would be voting for those. The Madison Valley Hospital District has 2 seats. They're 4-year terms. There are 2 candidates. Both are acclaimed, won't be on the ballot. And lastly, there's a proposal for creating the Firelight Water and Sewer, and so there will be a vote. It will be done by only those who own in the Firelight Meadows, the owners and residents. Those are the only ones that will get that on the ballot. I read somewhere that there are as many as 800 different versions of the Gallatin County ballots. Think about that. So each one of you is getting a customized ballot for depending on where you live. So let's take a look at who our candidates are. Our first 4, we have Maren Dunn, We have Matt Jennings, Danielle McLean, and John McGuire. Your ballot will show a fifth candidate. Matt Kidd originally put his name in. He has withdrawn. He wanted to be able to be a candidate if there were really no one signing up as being interested. So he did withdraw. So we have 4 candidates for 2 seats. The first question. Why would you like to serve on the Big Sky School District Board? And what do you hope to accomplish in the next 3 years? John?
My name's John McGuire, running for the School Board District. First off, I'd like to thank the organizers of this event and BSRAD, our esteemed moderator, and most of all for you all for being here and those who are online for participating. I'm here running for school board from a position of complete gratitude. My wife Vanessa and I moved here with our 3 children because of the excellence of our school system. Our oldest is now somehow a graduating senior. Having had an incredible and full high school career at Lone Peak, we have a sophomore and a daughter in 6th grade as well. All of whom have had excellent experiences throughout their time at Ophir and Lone Peak. I'm terrifically grateful for the outstanding education that our children are fortunate enough to have here in Big Sky. And I'm committed to ensuring that the excellence of our school system continues for our current students and for generations of Big Sky kids to come. I feel I'm intimately familiar with the opportunities and challenges presented by our unique school district. More than any other academic institution I've seen, our school district runs through the excellence of our teachers, administrators, and staff. Supplemented by invaluable contributions from parents, families, and other Big Sky community members. I've been committed to continue this tradition, volunteering and supporting our community. By way of background, I'm the head coach of the Lone Peak girls varsity basketball team and reestablished a girls JV team to continue to grow the program. I also work with committed community members and the school to establish and coach the first Lone Peak baseball team. Now in our 2nd successful season, indeed, we have 21 players on our roster, which is the largest high school sport. Importantly, we just beat the tar out of East Helmets. It was a big win. Go Bighorns. Outside of school, I'm on the board of BSCO and serve as vice chair and treasurer. I'm a strong supporter and have been instrumental in BSCO's current initiative to expand and enhance our park and field space in town. I'm a strong, with the goal here is expanding the opportunities, again, available to our children and others in our community. I'm also on the board and serve as treasurer of Friends of Big Sky Education. It's the nonprofit that was instrumental in establishing the high school and that provides funding to teachers and administrators for advanced certification and education. And earlier this month provided a record amount of scholarships to graduating Lone Peak seniors. In short, I'm all in for Big Sky for our kids, and I hope that I can earn your vote to take this initiative and experience to the school board. In closing, as you know, the school's motto is at the peak of excellence in all that we do. What I hope to accomplish over the next 3 years is to vigorously and relentlessly maintain and expand the excellence of our school district, despite fiscal headwinds, and to continue to enhance the opportunities available to each child in Big Sky. The foundation of our school is academic excellence, and we need to work together to continue to be what I believe the finest school system in the state of Virginia. Thank you.
Thank you. Answering the same question, Matt.
Hi, I'm Matt Jennings. I am currently serving on the school board, and this is my 4th term, seeking my 5th. So, I love our school system. I got involved with it when my kids were school age, and really have never stopped. And we've had such great faculty, teachers, community support. It's just been really a privilege to be a part of over these last 12 years. What I would like to do in the next 3 years is just, like John was saying, our academic rigor has been huge, and we've really set the standard for a lot of different places in Montana through Big Sky, and I would obviously like to keep that going as we move forward. We will have a lot of challenges moving forward, but I think with this community, the people we have here, the support we have for the system that we have in place already, I don't see any issues in attaining our goals and keeping those paths moving forward. So, like I said, I've been involved, since we built the high school, since the STEAM building was put in place. Hiring and firing teachers, it's a hard job at times, but it's very rewarding, and I wouldn't be up here again unless I believed fully that we can do what we're continuing to do moving forward. So I would like to see us continue to keep our teachers that we have, to retain as much as possible, to continue to have teacher housing available to people in the community, to attract those people to come here and stay, and would that's about it. 3 minutes seems a long time for me, so I'm very short-winded. But yeah, I love being involved in it. It's been a great experience. I would like to keep moving forward and continue to strive for keeping our schools #1 in the state as much as we can. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, I just want to repeat that we have 2 seats. I'm trying to make the sand go down. Right? That we have 2 seats and 4 candidates. So I'm just reminding you of that. All right, Danielle, is the sand looking like it's all the way upstate?
Thanks for being here. My name is Danielle McLean. I feel like I have some unique perspective. I actually started working at the Big Sky School District in the year 2000. I was a middle school teacher. There were 85 kids in the whole school at the time. And I went and had my own kids and went back to teaching after I was home for a while, and I was a high school librarian when we first started the high school, so I lived through that whole process. I feel like I have a really unique perspective on the school district, just by virtue of the fact that I've worked there for so long. And my kids have gone from kindergarten through 12th grade through the school district. And my daughter's graduating this year, which I'm very excited for her. And I have time, and I really felt like I wanted to put my experience towards something I feel strongly about, and that is our school and everything everyone has done over the years to bring it to where it is right now. I feel that it's a really great place. The facilities that have been built to have a high school, and the work that people have done over the last 10 years has been amazing. I feel that in the next few years, we're really going to have to work hard on using all those facilities and keeping them running. There's going to be some staffing issues and some budget issues that are going to be challenging, and I feel like we really need to keep our eyes on the prize, which is just creating the best school we can for our kids, a really equitable education for academics and for trade type which is new to our school district. So I feel like we really need to keep our eyes focused on developing all those resources. I think that's
I've got a timer too here, so.
I drive on the take 3 minutes. Hi, I'm Maren Dunn. Thanks for being here. You also might know me as Dr. Dunn. I'm one of the physicians over at the hospital. And I'm running for school board because I'm also now a parent. But it goes back even further than that. In 2011, during the recession, I moved here intentionally because my friends were having children and because there wasn't medical care for families. And I moved here to open a practice, and that put me in a position to meet the most incredible community of families that I have the pleasure of knowing. I've now gotten to watch these children grow up. I've watched your children grow up. I've gotten to watch them go from kindergarten now through, the juniors this year. Lots of graduating kids, and it's been an impressive ride to watch the size of the classes grow, the just excitement that the kids have, and more importantly, the growth that we've had. Not only the addition of the high school building, but the academics. When the IB program came to be, I was ecstatic. I had the opportunity to go to a college prep school in the Midwest, and so I know the benefits of AP classes. I've been through graduate school and onward, and that stuff really matters. And so I was thrilled to see that we could support our teachers and our kids into a program like that puts them on the map with all the other kids in our country. So additional to that is the athletics. I think the athletics are very important to the kids. Their development, their growth, their teammate mentality, just how they learn to manage people. And I love watching the athletics grow. Watching the girls' basketball team. It was super fun this winter. My daughter and I went to a lot of those games. She's in 4th grade. She's now playing baseball. So that is incredibly important to me that we continue to bolster that. How do we do that though? It's the same as the education. We have to find a way to maintain our teachers and our coaches and attract them. So in the next 3 years, I'd love to help bolster these types of things, especially the extracurriculars. I've loved seeing the arts grow. The musicals are phenomenal, and if you haven't seen one, go. Making sure that we have the teachers for this and the support for that is extremely important to me, again, for the kids who find the arts to be their travel into their next steps of their world. So I guess as you can see, I have a big picture view. And having been on the board at Morningstar Learning Center, I come with a lot of experience of knowing how to get this done. I'll answer that in the next question. But anyhow, that's my spiel on why I'd like to be on the board and some of the things that I see that are exciting.
Catch your breath, because question number 2 will start with Maren. So, what do you see as the biggest challenges facing the Big Sky School District during your term over the next 3 years? And how would you like to see these challenges addressed?
Like I said, I was on the Morningstar board for 9 years, and that included the COVID years, during which time I realized medical knowledge was kind of important. But I learned a ton about the importance of education and how the government doesn't really help us do this. And that it's up to us and our local community to really support our school. And I learned how Big Sky does support its children. I learned how Big Sky does come together to support the benefits of our kids. And I see our biggest challenge is teacher retention, attraction, and management. I learned through Morningstar that it's really important to teachers, A, to get paid enough, to have benefits, to get vacation, to have substitutes. how are we going to do that? I think it's going to take our whole community to come together to figure that out. And I'd love to be a part of that crew that comes up with ideas so that our community can then support it and we can maintain wonderful teachers, the ones we have and the ones to come. You're tiny.
I got you. What
What'd you say?
Another 2.
Oh, goodness. So housing would be another issue I learned through Morningstar. Once we were able to offer some housing, we were able to retain teachers. When we could retain teachers, we could have more kids at the center. It goes without saying for our school. I did get to make some really great relationships with people within the community as a result of being on that board and being the president of the board through COVID. And I really value that time, and I value those relationships and would love to use those to continue to bounce ideas off and, again, come back to our community for solutions.
So, I believe the question is, what are the challenges? And I'm going to wear my glasses this time because last time I sort of lost my place. But I believe that some of the challenges are going to be the challenges that we've always faced in the district, and that is school funding and enrollment fluctuation, and which affects the budget, teacher retainment, and valuing the support staff that we have and paying them to work there. I was also on the Morningstar board for 7 years, and I forgot to mention that in the first part because I didn't have my glasses on, but and I was really nervous. And that really helped. And one of the things that I learned from that is that I was on the board when my kids had aged out of Morningstar, which I felt was a really helpful place to be because I could just be there and have a really an informed perspective on what parents were feeling and the pressure that they felt with the tuition and, trying to make it work for their families. So I feel like in our school, we could just really do a good job if we bring the community in and let them know what's going on so that it's not a mystery when we put something on the ballot, like a levy for school improvements or for teacher funding, or not teacher funding, but for school improvements or budget issues that a lot of people don't always understand what that means. So one of the things I want to circle back to, and the last question is, what do I feel that I would do? Is one of the things I would do is more community outreach, so that what goes on at the school is really transparent, and when things come up, people understand what the school is talking about. And as far as how I would do that is just be a good board member, show up, do the work, listen, and work together with people to try and come up with creative solutions, because I think that's the best way to get things done in our community, is come up with creative solutions, because it is a different place to be and to live and to work, and we have to acknowledge that and work with that.
I want to use this thing. So I think we're kind of back to the place where we were before the pandemic. One of our biggest challenges is going to be with our student enrollment and being able to keep our programs that we currently have and that we've brought back on, to keep those in place. And how do we do that? And it's going to be a really tricky, I think, combination of not only funding from the state, but also community funding, which our community has always been fantastic in that regard. And we can't say enough about that moving forward and what we need to have. So also teacher retention, you know, before we've had problems with teachers coming and going, they were commuting back to Bozeman and here and there, and then we brought on our affordable housing, and we were able to keep a little bit more people here in Big Sky to keep our programs running and have, you know, the familiarity with the kids and the students and the staff has been a lot better, I think, which has helped keep people here. But, you know, we need to continue to do that, and we're looking forward into that already, which I think is going to be a huge benefit moving forward in keeping staff here. You know, funding is always tough. It's always hard. We're always playing a shell game with the budget and trying to figure out ways that we can move things around, cover this, cover that, you know, shift stuff. And it's just an ongoing battle that we just have to keep doing and stay vigilant with. And I think we've done a fantastic job so far as a district. And I would just, you know, like to stay involved with keeping that moving forward and having programs for our kids, whether they be IB, whether they want to be in a trade school. You know, that was the focus of our STEAM building, was to get other options out there to kids so that we have those kids staying active that are not needing necessarily to pursue the IB. They just want a high school diploma. Maybe they want to go into a trade school or build things or work on engines or whatever it may be. I think having that option and moving forward with that still is going to be really beneficial to us as a school district, and hopefully that will help to continue to attract people to Big Sky like we have in the past. You know, our academics have kind of spoken for themselves, and people, I know several families that have moved to Big Sky just to be part of our school district because we have had such high academic standards. We've come through with that. Our teachers that we have, our staff, our administration are all on board. And I think just moving forward, you know, that is going to be key to keep that momentum going, which I think will be pretty easy to do with what we have in place right now. So.
Thank you, Matt and John.
The biggest challenge we face as a school district, to me, is clear, is to continue to provide the excellent opportunities, extracurricular activities, and top academic programs for our students despite significant fiscal headwinds and budget challenges, as you've heard, I think, from each of us. I, for one, am really concerned about these challenges. Enrollment is down 8% year on year, to be precise. This is really significant and has a significant adverse impact on our school budget. Enrollment declines hit our budget from the state on an effectively dollar-for-dollar basis. We cannot allow budget constraints to begin to erode the opportunities for our students in Big Sky. Our school's excellence is fragile and must be carefully tended to. We cannot take our school for granted, and it's critical we support teachers and administrators with strong budget and economic fundamentals that set up our school district for continued success into the future. By background, I've been a lawyer and in finance for over 25 years, which has involved significant experience with budgeting and board oversight across different sectors. I'm committed to bringing this experience to creatively and responsibly address what could be a game-changing budgetary constraints in the coming years. We cannot endanger our critical successes with the IB program, college placement, other post-secondary trade opportunities, and business opportunities for graduates, athletic and extracurricular opportunities, not just basketball and baseball, but first, all of them, and other unique programming and attributes of our awesome school. None of these programs are a given. We have basically been blessed with a private school level education and opportunities in a small public school. And we have to work hard together to continue to deliver the excellence our kids are lucky enough to take for granted themselves. This applies not just to maintaining current offerings at the school, but also expanding in critical areas. Here I would include enhanced cost of living adjustments for teachers. Teachers are essential and our most precious resource at the school, full stop. In addition, we should be enhancing, as an example, our foreign language offerings at the middle and high schools, something I think parents and the audience will agree with. Given Montana state law requirements around school budgets, it's going to take significant thought, creativity, and commitment. And importantly, leveraging the entire Big Sky community as additional sources of public and private funding to continue to deliver for our kids. We had an unsuccessful bond issue around a new gym 2 years ago, and we're facing a decline in enrollment. We cannot allow any backsliding whatsoever in the achievements that have occurred in the Big Sky School District. The challenges ahead are clear, and I'm committed to support our students, our teachers, and the district. I hope I can earn your support and your vote.
Thank you all. Again, we have Maren Dunn, Danielle McLean, Matt Jennings. Vote for Matt Jennings, not Matt Kidd, if you're selecting a Matt. Right? And Sean. Thank you. Before our next group comes up, or actually you can come up while I'm doing this part, I'd like to let you know that there will be a levy that you'll be voting for Big Sky schools. And this will increase the local taxes to support the general fund in the amount of $65,000. It's approximately 0.61 mils, for those of you who know what that is. And for the purpose of providing funds to pay for operating expenses associated with teacher salaries. Passage of the levy is intended to be permanent. Now, a little bit of math for you. If your market value is 100,000, I know that's low, so you can laugh. That would be 82 cents per year more on your taxes. But take that 100 and multiply it times the number you need to multiply it to get to your market value, and you'll see that if you had a value of 600,000, that would be less than $5 more to your taxes. So it's not a huge amount, and as you heard from the four of them, quite important for the budget. So, also, if you have more questions about the levy, Dustin Shipman gave me this information today to share with all of you. There will be 2 listening sessions to address questions about the levy. One will be Wednesday the 24th, as in tomorrow, at 7 p.m. at base. And then next Wednesday, May 1st, at 6 p.m. at Wompat. So if you have questions that you really want to get answers to, show up to one of the 2 listening sessions. All right, come on up for our Big Sky Resort Area District, BSRAD. All right, let me introduce everyone that we have here. We have Kevin Germain seeking re-election. Again, there's 5 candidates running for 3 seats. So Kevin Germain seeking re-election. Laura C. Fang. Landon Wade, who has a conflict this evening, unable to be here, and I'll read a statement from him in answer to the questions. Grace Young, also seeking re-election, and John Zirkle. So 4 of the 5 are here with you this evening. The first question, and we're going to start with Grace. The first question will be, what knowledge, expertise, and perspectives will you bring to the role as a board member?
Hello, my name is Grace Young, and I would like to begin by thanking everyone for sharing your evening with me and all the other candidates running for office. I'm excited that we have choices for so many of these local boards, and I hope by the end of this evening, you will want to support my re-election efforts and choose to vote for me for another term on the BSRAD board. I'd like to take you on a trip down memory lane as I answer this question. My time in Big Sky all started in 2002. I was engaged to my now husband Mason, who was a ski patroller and a raft guide at the time. I had moved from Virginia to Colorado to West Virginia to Utah, all within 10 months. I was thrilled to be considering a final move where he could have the opportunity to do both jobs without us having to relocate every 3 to 6 months. In early 2002, we visited and loved Big Sky, found a place to live starting May the 1st, and I'm happy to say, rented what was the last U-Haul we have ever rented. I immediately began the adventure of figuring out what to do with myself to contribute to our household. From 2002 through 2009, I held a variety of jobs. I worked at the flower shop, I babysat, I was a server at the Big EZ in the Timbers restaurant. I obtained my real estate license and had a successful year as a selling agent. However, I was looking for a different role and was fortunate to be able to segue that experience into a job working as a licensed real estate assistant through the middle of 2009. 2008 changed almost everything in this community. And after navigating through some challenging years, by 2010, I was starting down my second career path in Big Sky as a bookkeeper and an office manager. My attention to detail and organizational skills made this a fun and natural transition, and I worked for other businesses in that capacity through November of 2022. It was at this point that the snow shoveling business Mason and I were operating since 2014 needed all of my time and attention. The perspective I brought to this board over the past 4 years has been as an advocate for our community, our residents, our workers, and as a representative of the hard work that it takes to make it in Big Sky and to make Big Sky. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to serve on this board, and I ask you to please consider sending me back for another term. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm John Zirkle, Mr. Zirkle to many of your kids, and Mr. Jay-Z as well. All right, about this timer. When I moved to Big Sky in 2009, I had a plan. I would ski, work, apply to grad schools, and then go somewhere else to build my life, because surely building a life in a place as beautiful as this wouldn't be possible. Fast forward to today, I'm now in my 15th year as a public school teacher at the Big Sky School District, and my 13th as the founding director of the Warren Miller Performing Arts Center. Like many of you, I found my home and life in Big Sky, and as a resort tax board member, I will never forget how grateful I am to be here, and all of the qualities of life here that make Big Sky so special. As a resort tax board member, I will endeavor not to transform Big Sky into something else, but to work to enhance its great strengths, address its weaknesses, and make it better for everyone who calls this place home. I know that's a big goal, but if my experiences in Big Sky have taught me anything, they've taught me the power of ideas and people working together, as well as a great deal about nonprofit and government partnerships and community needs. I also have a deeply personal understanding of what it means to stand in front of the Resort Tax Board, to consistently apply for and deploy public dollars for the benefit of our community, and to be held accountable for that promise. I know what that feels like, and I empathize with all of the members of our community who have stood up at that podium. My expertise that I will bring to the board has been developed here in Big Sky. I've clocked my 10,000 hours several times over in the arts and education and community space here in Big Sky, and so technically speaking, I am a Big Sky expert. I also happen to love math, and as David O'Connor likes to put it, at the end of the day, many of Big Sky's challenges are math problems, and I love solving math problems. I think one of the biggest questions we are all asking now is this: what does growth mean for Big Sky? This is where my knowledge and lived experience will come into play as a board member for Resort Tax. We've all seen the recent rapid growth in the landscape of Big Sky, and we have all felt the frustrations with rising traffic challenges, housing accessibility, and generally increased costs across the board. While these examples represent one type of growth, I believe that our full-time, year-round segment of the community is evolving and growing in a different manner. This is where my primary concerns and focus will be if elected. How can we make sure that Big Sky remains livable, sustainable, and accessible for those who have already built their lives here and those who are yet to come? Ultimately, I believe that Big Sky is still small. Sure, it's a little bigger than it was. There are more buildings, new chairlifts, and a few more stoplights than when I first moved here, but this is still a small town. Well, a small census-designated place. In my view, our smallness offers us our greatest strength and is what will allow us to come together to tackle the big challenges ahead. Thank you. Pretty sure I'm going to give you some time back in your evening. As Lori introduced me, my name's Kevin Germain. I've had the pleasure to serve you guys for the last 2 terms on the Resort Area District Board. It really has been a distinct honor. It's been a lot of fun and very interesting. I'm sorry I missed the majority of the cocktail hour tonight. I was watching Coach McGuire's team and my son beat East Helena, and I got stuck in construction traffic coming back, but I did make it. I will stick around all evening. Anybody wants to talk to me afterwards? So I wanted to really thank, like all the other candidates, thank you guys for your time. It's pretty. This community is very invigorating. The participation of our neighbors is just awesome, and you guys taking the time here to come tonight. And a huge hats off to the other candidates for Resort Area District and the other boards. I mean, to throw your hat or to jump in the arena is very admirable. So I very much appreciate it. Knowledge. Let's see, my question was what is my knowledge, expertise, and perspective? Real quickly, my knowledge is, trying to think, by education, I have a undergraduate in geohydrology and a master's in civil engineering from Montana State University a lifetime ago. I've applied that through work. I started here working in Big Sky in the early 2000s as a consultant on the environmental permitting front for Moonlight Basin when they were just thinking about starting a ski area. I've transitioned that more into a business and community role through my career. And so when I really think about my expertise it's working on the business side, but also for this community. Before Resort Tax, I served on the chamber board. There's multiple boards I've served on in the Big Sky area. And what that's allowed me is to become an expert with how to navigate with our county, to navigate with our state, and to navigate with our local organizations. And so that's truly where I see my expertise is outside of business. And I think business is really important. We have to remember Resort Tax is collected from all the businesses, and the business perspective on this community is very important. What is my perspective? That was an interesting question. I think my perspective is as a parent and a father. I've raised 3 kids in this community. They say raise as if you're never done. I'm still raising 3 kids. I have one left who is going to be a bobcat. And then I've got one back from the East Coast who's now living back in Montana, and I hope another child comes back. But when I think about what is my perspective, it's that what am I going to leave my children? What is going to be my legacy? What am I going to help with this room create in this community of Big Sky? If you receive my junk mail with the ballots, I hope you will see that I'm very passionate about workforce housing. It is not lost on me that I'm raising my children in a community that they most likely cannot return to. And that makes me sad, and that keeps me up at night. And so how can we solve the housing challenges? That's a lot of what I focus on over the last decades, and that's what I plan on focusing, serving you. So please vote for me. It's not my much.
Pass the time.
Hi there, I'm Laura Seafang. Like all of our candidates, I just love Big Sky. That's what brought me here, that's what keeps me here, and I want to see it thrive. I feel like I'd be a good addition to the Resort Tax Board because I bring a lot of good problem-solving skills. I like analyzing situations and really thinking them through to find good
good outcomes. My degrees are in industrial engineering and operations management, and so I've always been a logical thinker, a problem solver, a process-focused person. I think those are valuable assets to be on a board like this one that has to make some really difficult, challenging decisions as we try to create strong balance and growth in our community. I'm a hard worker. I really like to just dig in and get things done, and I think I have a history of that here in Big Sky. My past work experiences are in both leadership roles in both for-profit companies as well as not-for-profit organizations. General Motors, the American Red Cross, Rotary, and the Big Sky Community Housing Trust. I've served on about a half a dozen different boards in my career, so I know how boards work. I've been very active actually with BSRAD, both sides of the table, as an applicant over the years, but I also make a point to go to as many board meetings as I can and stay current on all of what's going on in the community and all the challenges that board faces, which are a lot. I've owned houses here in Big Sky for 27 years now, but have been here full-time for about 7 years. And in the time that I've lived here, I've been active in a lot of local organizations. So I really have a good understanding of the dynamics in our community, how things work, and what our needs are. I'm currently retired from a full-time job. I keep busy in a lot of side gigs, but I have a lot more flexibility. I have a lot of time to be able to devote to this important job. So I appreciate your support.
Thank you. And before we start with you again, Laura, I'm going to read Landon's response to this question.
Should we start the timer?
Please do that. All right. This is Landon Wade, and he is one of the candidates. He's unable to be here this evening, and this is his response to the question you see up here. He says, "While I realize I do not have nearly as much experience in the community as the other candidates may have, as someone who is raising young kids in Big Sky, I understand some of the challenges we are faced with. I'm very eager for the chance to be a contributing member. I have a hospitality finance background, and I know what it takes to make difficult decisions. I've made a career out of working with people from all walks of life to find solutions in complex situations. I have always been a curious person that tries to understand the root of a question before coming up with an answer. With resort tax being such a pivotal part of this community, I would love to be part of the decision-making process and contribute towards Big Sky's success." That's it. I'll answer his last question after starting with it. So we'll move to our second question, and Laura. The question is, provide an example of how you've worked with community partners to achieve beneficial outcomes for Big Sky.
A lot of you know me as the founding executive director of the Big Sky Community Housing Trust. And during my 4 years with that organization, I worked with both BSRAD, a lot of local developers, realtors, and the Water and Sewer District to create our first permanently deed-restricted workforce housing. Learning from other resort communities who also face this housing challenge for workers, we borrowed, and I was able to start here in Big Sky the Rent Local program and the Good Deeds programs, both which have helped hundreds of our local residents have a secure place to call home. While at the Housing Trust, I was part of the original coordinating council here in Big Sky, so I worked closely with all of the nonprofit organizations and for-profit organizations that are represented there. And as the two-time past president of our local Rotary and an active member there, I've been able to promote Rotary partnerships with organizations like the Big Sky Community Organization, WIA, and Morningstar. I I encouraged our Rotary Board to act as fiscal sponsors for both SNOW, our recycling and organization that's been focusing on helping us with sustainability, and the new Big Sky Vantage program. As fiscal sponsors, Rotary was able to help those two organizations get on their feet and get started. This past year, since I've been retired, I helped kick off the Big Sky Community Support Group, which is a new organization that's focused on trying to make a more supportive and welcoming place for our seasonal workforce. I'm passionate about helping others. That's really what gives me joy. And I like solving problems, and I just want to focus on making sure that as Big Sky grows, that it's a balanced place as well as this beautiful place that we love.
So, some examples of where we, I've worked with other community partners to affect change. I'll jump to the end result, and then I'll try to keep the story very brief and stay well within my 3 minutes. One of the things I'm most proud of, and I'll tie everything back to livability, I think that's one of the biggest challenges of our community is how can people afford to live in our wonderful community. Years ago, the late Steve Johnson and I were on a subcommittee, and really hats off to Steve. He was a heck of a community member, and I was in the trenches with him a lot on some of these efforts, and so I'm very thankful. So the story to tell I share with Steve is we worked with the Water and Sewer District to negotiate 600 SFEs to be dedicated to workforce housing when the new plant was built. So that was the end result. And what did that accomplish? That got 600. So when you're building housing, you not just need land, you also have to have sewer and water hookups, and that's sacred in Big Sky. And so that negotiation with the new plant has been just a great, I think, I would say, like to not rest on those laurels. That's a model for moving forward on how we do things here. The new plant is built. We've got the highest treated effluent in the state of Montana now. We have 600 SFEs dedicated to workforce housing. That's the accomplishment. Where did that begin? That began 3 legislative sessions ago, actually 4 if you include this last one. And so that was 2 efforts in Helena to pass the 1% for housing. That was a bill that would allow this community to dedicate an additional 1% to workforce housing. When that didn't work, we lost those votes on tie votes in the Senate, 25 to 25, with soul crushing. We pivoted and made that the 1% for infrastructure. That 1% for infrastructure is what allowed that the beautiful new plant that just had its ribbon cutting a week ago, to happen. That was 8 years in the works to just get the funding to then take 2 years to build a plant. So that was working with the Chamber of Commerce. There was a lot of people in this room that made that trip to Helena to help testify on behalf of our community. That, to me, is one of my most proud accomplishments that's shared with a lot of people in this room, and of course Steve. That is also why I'm running today, is a lot of the efforts that we're working on take years, and there's so many things that we're on the cusp of that I just feel like one more term, I would really like to lean into it to help deliver for the community at Big Sky some of these efforts. So, please vote for me.
While the sand's running on that, before you start, John, I intended to acknowledge earlier the passing of Steve, so thank you for referencing Steve Johnson. He leaves a vacant spot on the board that will not be filled by election, but once the board has been elected, a replacement will be appointed. He was 2 years into his 4-year term. So, all right. Go ahead, John.
I think anyone who works in Big Sky knows that nothing happens here without collaboration. This is ultimately one of the best things about living here and directly tied to our community spirit. The building I work in, our local community performing arts center, was my introduction to this approach. I was on the team that led the way to retrofitting a middle school gym into a community performing space for under $2 million, less than the cost of the average single-family home on the market today. Today, this theater uses the facilities of the school, like parking, bathroom, kitchen, and the school is able to use the facilities of the theater for musicals, graduations, holiday programs, theater, and music classes. The community is a constant beneficiary. We've staged 330 productions for approaching 100,000 patrons, and the space is also utilized year-round by nonprofits and individuals for graduation, school programs, and community-led performances. I cross paths with nearly every entity in Big Sky on our stage, which leads to even more partnerships. Managing and growing these partnerships is an essential part of my job, as these partners often help me with housing and hosting my visiting artists, sudden prop and costume needs, and more. A more specific example of how partnership works in this town is with an interesting pivot that we did in COVID. As you all may remember, some of you were there in December of 2020, we took on a project called In a Landscape, where we towed a classical piano out onto the golf course in winter, and people skied around the piano and listened to a concert. That was a way we were able to maintain social distancing during COVID. To make that happen, it wasn't very easy. It had never been done before, to our knowledge. The artists had never done it. We had to convince them that it would be safe and that it wouldn't be cold. Of course, that evening it got down to -8 degrees, and our propane tanks were losing their igniters, so I was sitting up there for an hour just sitting and turning on the heater so that hunters' hands wouldn't freeze. But in addition to the novelty of it, it's a lot of complexity that has to make that happen. We had to get permission from Big Sky Resort. We had to extend our general liability coverage. We had to get Lone Mountain Ranch on board and get them to be willing to experiment with us towing a $100,000 piano with their snowcat out onto the course. And we had to get Big Sky Landscaping to help. They donated their garage so we could store the piano there overnight so it would be warm enough for a performance in the morning. I had to convince Pam Flock to tow out a 10-gallon jug of hot chocolate so people would stay warm. Pam's in the room. You know, and so these are just small examples of how we do shows here. And of course we can't do it without everyone here. And I would say a testament to those shows working is the trust that I've built over the years of one successful project after another. That is what made our pivot during COVID successful, because of the many relationships and partnerships that we have established. To my mind, partnering up is the Big Sky way, and I'll definitely be looking for these opportunities if I serve on BSRAD. Thanks.
Nervous. Before the days of telehealth, which might be the only thing, in my opinion, that came out of COVID, there were not opportunities to receive mental health care in Big Sky. If you had an appointment, you needed to take at least 3.5 hours off of your workday. You had to drive to Bozeman for an hour. Your appointment was an hour. You had to drive home. Gave you 30 minutes for some traffic. In 2004 and 2005, 11 other Big Sky women and I formed what is now known as Wellness in Action. The mission was and is to improve community well-being by providing a network of mental and behavioral health resources to people who live or work in Big Sky. An initial and one of our very primary goals was to create opportunities for people to receive mental health care without having to take off time from work. We also sought to help offset the cost for families in Big Sky and established scholarship programs for winter and summer camps. WIA was instrumental in, prior to the formation of FOBSI, I think we, if I can recall correctly, out of the, what was the first graduating class? Can anyone tell me? Numbers, 12? There were there were 2 graduated, but of the first enrollment of from moving from K through 8 to K through 12, I think there were about 9 kids that made that transition, and WIA was instrumental in providing scholarships and laptops to every single one of those students. I'm proud of the 10 years that I served on that board and everything that we accomplished, and I'm just as proud of what WIA continues to do. In 2023, let me find my numbers, 323 community members were served with counseling. That provided 2,663 hours to all of those people. And 72 camp and enrichment scholarships were provided within our families in our community. WIA continues to support the well-being and the mental health and all of the things. Start the timer. WIA continues to be instrumental and supportive and driving the bus to really help our community address our mental health issues, to help our families still send their kids to camps. Inflation is up, costs are up, cost of living is up, housing prices are up. My involvement with WIA is something I still continue to be proud of. I love the work that they keep doing, and I'm glad I did it. That's the end of my involvement.
I have one more response to read from Landon, and then we'll actually break for 10 minutes. So this is Landon's response to the question that you see up here. During my time in Big Sky, I have been fortunate enough to be part of several nonprofit fundraising efforts at the montage events. We have fought hard to be able to partner with local nonprofits in the community to further fund available services. I have also been a part of several volunteer events in the community and look forward to joining many more soon. I want to thank Laura, Kevin, John, and Grace. Landon from a distance. Thank you. And we will take 10 minutes, so mark it on the clock. All right, while you're being seated, let me just remind you that whether you get the paper version or your email town crier, that information on all of the Gallatin County candidates were in the paper. So please have a read of that, and I think there's some additional papers out in the lobby if you please. All right. Hopefully we haven't lost too many. They're still coming back in. Let's go ahead and introduce our candidates for the Big Sky Water and Sewer. We have 4 candidates, 3 are present tonight, and there are 3 seats. So Jared, we have Dick, who is seeking re-election. Kent is unable to be with us, and we have Mike also seeking re-election. First question for our Big Sky Water and Sewer candidates. Why would you like to serve on the Big Sky Water and Sewer District Board, or continue serving? And what do you hope to accomplish in the next 4 years? And we'll start off with Mike.
Thanks, Lori. Thanks, everyone, for being here tonight and taking the time to listen to all of us seeking election. My name is Mike Wilsinski. My wife, Jane, and I have lived in Big Sky now for 20 plus years, raised 2 daughters here. One just recently out to college at Gonzaga over in Spokane, and the second one that's a sophomore in high school here. So we've grown to love this community, and first and foremost, I just want to be a part of it and be a part of the, kind of give back to some degree is one of the motivations. But we've accomplished a lot at the district over the last 4 years that I've been involved. First and foremost, I think about the new plant that's coming online, that delivering the liquids here about the last couple of weeks is a major milestone. A lot of that groundwork and sort of engineering and design development all happened well ahead of my term on the board, but bringing that to life, financing that project, and then ultimately delivering that here October, November of this year is a major milestone, something to be proud of. I also think about succession planning. There's been a lot of loyal employees of the district. I think about Jim Muscat, Ron Edwards, that Ron retiring here pretty shortly. So like succession planning has been a major kind of effort here over the last few years in developing an organizational structure chart, job descriptions and kind of compensation packages to kind of grow into this new plant. There have also been efforts that we've delivered. There's also been some issues, just legal issues that we've navigated. It's fun to be a part of this board. Grateful to be a part of this board. A lot of loyal individuals. I think Dick, 20 years now on the board, but just some really cool things that have come over the last couple of years in particular. As I think about the future, bringing some of these initiatives to life are ultimately one of my motivating factors associated with running for re-election. I really want to see that new plant come online, be a part of that new plant coming online, sort of delivering and finalizing that organizational structure, building that team. Not that I'm going to be physically building the team. Johnny, our new GM, is ultimately doing that, but laying the groundwork to make that happen is an important initiative. And I think about the water and finding water for the balance of our build out in the Big Sky community. Another big initiative. A lot of work that's gone into that. Searching for water, some relationships that we've developed, some opportunities that we have to bring those wells online, to permit them to be able to utilize them in our community. I also think about like discharge and disposal opportunities. We've been very one-dimensional so far to date. It's all been summer disposal just on the golf course, at the resort course here in the meadow, Spanish Peaks and YC, but at the YC, kind of initiating that effort with snowmaking, it opens a lot of doors for us. So I think about developing a water matrix, understanding you have that resource, finding the water for our community. Once that water is delivered to the plant, that 1A effluent coming back to us, making sure we have integrity behind our desire to not discharge into streams, and utilizing that ground application. So that opening doors with the snowmaking is hugely important. So I look at really wanting to bring some of that to life. I think some of my knowledge, just in the work that I do at Moonlight Basin, and just in being engaged in the community, allows me to contribute to the board, and I just want to be part of it.
Hi, my name is Dick Fast. As Mike mentioned, I've been on the board for 20 years, both as secretary and treasurer. I think we should give credit to Mike here. We've had a big turnover in leadership on our staff, and Mike was largely responsible for helping find replacements for a legend, Ron Edwards, who's been around forever, and two of our water and our sewer managers. So he's done a great job at kind of initiating that. And we're going to have some challenges ahead in the next few years as these people and their new operators and staff get up to speed. During the period I've been on the board, the district's grown tremendously. At the same time, as I mentioned, the board and the staff have worked diligently to expand both our water resources and our wastewater capacity, and to improve the quality, this is especially important, of the wastewater disposal. You've all seen growing over the last 3 years the new Water Resource Recovery Facility, which is a fancy name for a sewer plant. And it's just beginning to go into operation. I think our plan is to have it in full operation for all product by November. It expands our capacity tremendously, allowing us to keep up with the growth and keep ahead of the growth that's been on our books and been coming down the road for many years. I think more importantly, it improves the quality of the effluent, thus avoiding the possibility of adding nutrients to the Gallatin River, an important goal. We've also spent a significant amount of time and money, as Mike mentioned, exploring for expanded sources of water. The challenges will only grow and continue to grow over the next few years as demand for development expands. I have two goals on the board. One is to make sure that the decisions we make are made with the environment and the resource restraints and resource sustainability as the primary drivers. And second, the goal is to represent our customers and ratepayers, that's all of you out there, and ensure that we provide high quality services at an affordable rate. Thank you.
Jared.
Hi, my name is Jared Biggerstaff. I grew up here in Big Sky, so I've got to watch a lot of change and growth over the years, and I guess I'm maybe finally stepping up to try to serve some of the local committees, boards. I'm currently on the Gallatin Canyon Big Sky Zoning Advisory Committee, where I did have the opportunity to work beside Steve Johnson for a short while. Quite a guy. And now I guess I just thank you all for helping me with my opportunity to be on the Big Sky Water and Sewer Board. I want to be on the board. My answer, I'm a new nominee here, so I'm going to be much more general. But I want to be on the Water and Sewer Board because, like Kevin had said, water and sewer is sacred in Big Sky. I believe that our community needs to have access to clean and safe water. Our community, including our tourists and our surrounding communities. My wife, my kids and I have a 12-year-old, 10-year-old, and 8-year-old all in the school here, so we work here. Love the community and want to contribute to the healthy growth of the community. I also want to say I respect the members of the Big Sky Water and Sewer Board. You guys have achieved so much, and your significant changes that you've made have allowed rapid growth in Big Sky and will allow future growth in Big Sky. So I want to learn through you guys, with you guys, and I want to, I guess, ensure that the Big Sky community continues to have access to clean and safe water, and that we continue to send clean and safe water down the river to our neighbors below. Thank you.
I do not have a response to read from Kent, so pick up a copy of the paper or read the town crier and you can read some information about him. We'll move to our second question, and Jared, you'll be starting us off on this one. What do you see as the most pressing challenges for Big Sky Water and Sewer, and what are your ideas for addressing these challenges?
I see the most pressing challenges to be growth and costs. And I guess at this point I address them by being objective, by learning from the other board members, learning with the other board members, and finding information that's available to make the best decisions we can for Big Sky Water and Sewer.
I think the biggest challenge that we face with the water and sewer in Big Sky is to ensure that the development, which is coming, and continuing to come, reflects and respects our water resources and our disposal capabilities. Protecting the environment we enjoy here is paramount and will continue to be my primary goal if reelected this year. One of the big challenges will be ensuring that the disposal capacity protects the environment. As you probably are aware, in addition to irrigation on several golf courses, we're also looking at snowmaking, indirect groundwater injection, and other options very carefully. The ultimate goal is to ensure environmentally safe disposal. In addition, the expansion of our water resources will require further exploration and extreme care to ensure that we don't outgrow our water resources in the face of immense demand for further development. It will require, on part of the board and the community, to a measured response for the numerous demands being made for expansion of the district. To conclude, I think it's important that the Water Sewer Board have a diverse membership and one that represents all elements of the community. I'm not beholden or involved in any corporate or business interest when making decisions. My only responsibility is to our ratepayers and the members of the community. I look forward to continuing to serve on the board and will appreciate your vote. Thank you.
So Big Sky is, constantly under a microscope, and I think Ron Edwards and his team over the years have done a great job of creating a pretty solid foundation. When you look at how proactive, that the water and sewer district has been, zero discharge into a stream is a giant milestone, monument, something to be very proud of. And those are going to be challenged as we grow. I mean, finding water is one thing; it's how do you dispose of it, discharge it effectively is a secondary challenge. I think with any challenge, there's unique opportunities that stem from that. And if we kind of use those guiding principles that I guess I've been a part for the last 4 years, but Ron has ultimately guided the last almost 30 years. I think that's a good way to look at what the future is. And we have some more open books, open doors, just related to snowmaking. I think when we look at this water matrix and the study of land applications, the groundwater injection Dick was referring to, snowmaking, storage, all of these different, functions and methods that we have to store, to ultimately treat at a very high level, 1A treatment level, which is as high of a treatment level as you can ultimately get, opens a lot of doors for us. And taking advantage of this recent work that we've done to study different mechanisms for disposing and discharging of that water and bringing that to life and spitting that from a challenge to a unique opportunity is something that I think we can do and look forward to doing it. I hope you vote for me. I want to be a part of it.
Again, for the Water and Sewer District, we have 4 candidates and 3 seats. And thank you all for being here to share this evening. All right, I've got a couple of districts to highlight that we won't have anyone up here for. The first being the Big Sky Fire District. We have 2 candidates who are running for 2 seats, and those seats will be appointed by acclamation. Therefore, they are already considered elected. They will not show up on your ballot. And those 2 individuals are Matt Dodd and Deb Lewis. There is also a Yellowstone Mountain Club Rural Fire District. That's a mouthful. There is 1 candidate running for 1 seat. He is acclaimed, and it's Thomas Butler. And that moves us to Ennis. So, come on. As we know, we are made up of both Gallup County and Madison County, and we have 3 of the 6 candidates running for the Ennis School District who made the trek over here to be able to speak to you. So we have Levi Chandler, he's not present. We have Dino Finelli. We have Dustin Peterson, not present. Kyle Stone, Justin Stoner, I have a response to read, and Neil Zucker. So our first question, and these will be voted on by Madison County residents. The first question for you guys, what do you see as the biggest challenges facing the Ennis School District during your 3-year term? And how do you plan to factor in all residents in Ennis and Big Sky, Madison County.
All right, well, I'm just going to mimic what everybody else said. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the process. Even if you're not Madison County residents, as I heard from people outside, you might have friends that are Madison County residents. So we're speaking to you as well. Yeah, my name's Kyle Stone. I'm the current school board chair here in Ennis, or over in Ennis. I decided to get involved because I have kids in the school. I have a now junior high kid and an elementary student. So as a father of kids, I definitely have an interest in the school. So that's why I originally decided to serve and continue to want to serve is just because of that. One of the biggest challenges that we faced 3 years ago, and I think we still face it, and I think we heard it from Long Peak, is staffing, keeping our school staffed. That's been, I think, the biggest challenge as a trustee so far. When I got on board, we had so much online learning. We couldn't even staff our classrooms. And so, I'm kind of proud of that initiative, or the initiatives that I worked on over my term to bring affordable housing. We've added 3 new housing units to the school. And that's made a huge difference in our ability to recruit teachers and fill our vacancies. And I think that, I think now we need to continue to be proactive about it, not just get comfortable. And so that'll be something that I think we need to continue to do. We're only going to get so much money from the state, and that's something that we can't control. And so that'll be something that I'll definitely want to continue to work on. The cost of living in Ennis is nowhere near what it is over here in Big Sky, but it's still increasing, and the wages are just not going up. So, anything we can do that maybe is outside of legislative control, I think we need to look into. We need to continue to support our teachers. Last year we negotiated a contract to increase teacher pay by 10% over 2 years, and I think that's been huge to keeping our staff and making sure that they make as much money as we can give them so they can stay. Because even though we are able to hire new teachers, we're having trouble even keeping our mid-career teachers at this point with the cost of living. So I think that's a big thing. I think we need to focus on academics. Over on the other side of the hill, there's a big fight between 4 and 5 day school weeks. I'm not somebody that supports a 4-day school week. I think it does our students a disservice. I think they belong in school 5 days a week. I think it prepares them for the future in the workforce. There's not many jobs out there where people are working 4-day weeks. And if they are working 4-day weeks, they're working 3 days. The other 3 days just to be able to make ends meet right now. So I think it's best for our students to be in school. I think it's best that we focus on academics and make that a priority. And so that's something that I think is a challenge for our district. I also believe we need to make sure our school's funded and not just irresponsibly. If we are going to pass a tech levy, which I'm proud that we were able to pass that, but we actually have numbers that support why we need that much. How much does that software program cost? How much do those smart boards cost? Not just going out to our taxpayers with a fairy, just an ask or something. So, obviously our bond failed, and I think we heard loud and clear from our voters. But we still have a facility to manage, so that's something I think we need to work on, is keeping our facility up, but not just asking for a number that we pull out of our backside, making sure that we have numbers. What is our cycle life of our facility? And that's something we've been working on. You can guarantee that when I ask for money from a taxpayer, that we're going to have the supporting documentation. It says this is how much we need, and this is why, and not just a big number. As far as how we can serve all of our residents, I'm somebody that's always going to show up. I'm here tonight. I think that's a big part of it, not being afraid to come over here to talk to the voters on this side of the hill and have dialogue. I've always shown up. We can disagree on things, but I'm willing to have that conversation about ideas on how our district can serve our residents that are on this side of the hill. And so I look forward to that discussion. And yeah, my time's already up.
One question each, so I'll do the same for you.
my name is Neil Zucker. I guess I just want to start by saying thank you guys for being here. It's really important that people are involved in the local legislation and what's going on in the schools, especially. If elected to the school board, there are many challenges that I'm expecting to face. As Kyle said, we have tons of governance, funding for programs, paying staff. We have issues with the facilities in the school building that need to be addressed. And it all needs to be done within what we can afford. But I do want to touch on the big kind of point of this question being asked, which is how do we factor in the residents of Ennis and the residents of the Big Sky and Madison County over here. I drove over Jack Creek Road today to come here. I tried to count how many cars I saw coming down the hill on my way in and my west end. Probably upwards of 40 or 50 different trucks and cars coming down the hill, soon returning from work. The prosperity of Ennis directly correlates to people who work and play and spend money and support Big Sky. So I think directly having the school be successful in Ennis will directly help the community up here. And I know that there's a bit of some butting of heads around how people in Madison County and Big Sky's tax dollars go towards stuff they feel they're not being directly benefited from. But I do not think that is true. I think that those dollars do benefit Big Sky, even if it's not as directly as some may say.
Kyle took all of our time.
No, you're good.
I really would like to thank you all for being here. I wish we had this kind of attendance at some of our meetings and our functions down there when we're talking about business and what's going on in Ennis. My biggest thing is I can't disagree with what either of the candidates have said. It's growth. How do we manage that growth? How do we manage that growth in our school? And it's going to be some outside the box thinking. Like Kyle said, we've failed 2 blocks since we've been on the board. Our high school is 50 years old. So those are things we've got to maintain. We're not going to get bigger as far as, I don't think we're going to get a bond passed in that town. I don't think I want to anymore. I'm not going to try again. But there's challenges. Staffing, retaining teachers, the housing has helped. But I think I worry about it a little bit more than they're worried about it. I shouldn't read the news every day, and I do. But I read an article about what's going on in Denver right now. And there's 250 kids coming in a week into their school systems. And they're having to go out for 8 to 9 different, just have a brain for it. I'm that age, so I can do that. But, for foreign language. It's not just Spanish, it's multiple languages. And those schools are struggling down there. And who's struggling the most is the kids that live there. And because of this influx, and I think we're going to see that here eventually. So we're going to have to start doing some thinking and figuring things out, guys. It's going to hit you, it's going to hit us. But that's my biggest worry. I want to do what's best for our kids, and if we can help other kids by doing that, that's great. But I don't want our kids to lose because of that. So thank you. I appreciate your vote, and pass the word out. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you leave, I'll read Justin Stoner's response he submitted and to this same question that you see up here. So he says, we need a strategic plan that addresses short, medium, and long-term issues. I've observed over the past few years that Ennis has a constant and heavy focus on levies and passing bonds. While that's important, I feel our first course of action needs to be creating a strategic plan for the next 1, 5, and 10-year windows. This will allow us to create goals and corresponding intermediate actions, objectives, and timelines that we can present to the community. This keeps us engaged and accountable in the outcomes that the voters are trusting us to accomplish. Staff retention and hiring is critical across the state, and for Ennis, we struggle to hire and retain staff, from teachers to bus drivers, in a valley where the cost of living is perpetually on the rise, necessitating funding and creative solutions to keeping staff in place. The aforementioned plan needs to account for issues facing our current school facilities and projected growth going forward. Again, funding is needed to make the learning environment suitable and safe for our district's students. How do we plan to factor in all residents in Ennis and Big Sky? All voters in the district need to be heard and understood. I think the school board needs to take steps to spread the word regarding major initiatives across all parts, areas, and demographics of school district voters, allowing people to engage, ask questions, and give feedback. People need to hear why these major initiatives are critical and or necessary. While there will always be some who are unhappy with the solution, getting the broader community involved in developing the solution will create long-term benefits for everyone. From Justin Stoner. Again, there are 6 candidates running for 2 seats. 3 of them present, 1 who submitted information. Thank you. There is also a levy that is on the ballot for Madison County for the Ennis School District. It is you would be voting to increase local taxes to support the general fund in the amount of $37,525. It's an increase of approximately 0.12 mils. I don't know if that's a single L or a double L. I think that's a typo. To pay for proper maintenance and operation of the K-12 program for 2024-2025 school year, the passage is intended to be permanent. I did the math on this. So for a market value of $100,000, and then it would be the equivalent of 16 cents per year. Yes. And for a market value of $600,000, it's approximately 97 cents. So they're not asking for a huge amount. All right. Thank you. Thank you for coming over. The Madison Valley Hospital District has 2 candidates for 2 seats. Brian Harp, seeking re-election, and Mary Oliver, seeking re-election. Both are acclaimed. They won't be on the ballot. I did receive a written piece to read, and I will say it's from the 2 of them combined as opposed to each of them submitting a statement. So I would like to read this from Bryant and Mary. As current members of the Hospital District Board of Trustees, we want to share how our presence positively impacts the residents of the Big Sky portion of our hospital district. The hospital district was established in 1953. I know that's old. To support Madison Valley Medical Center's mission of promoting health and wellness throughout the entirety of the hospital district. Over the last 7 decades, both the district and Madison Valley Medical Center have remained committed to this mission, and the hospital has actively worked to expand its services throughout Madison County, including the Ennis, Big Sky, and surrounding communities. The hospital district remains committed to ensuring health and wellness services are made available to Big Sky and looks forward to the hospital's expansion of services in Big Sky. We are proud to have Dr. Brandon Allen, board-certified family medicine physician, and Lisa Brubaker, a licensed clinical social worker, working as a behavioral health specialist, providing services at the Big Sky Medical Center and treating patients in the Big Sky community. The district looks forward to hearing from and working with stakeholders in the Big Sky community so it can continue to evaluate and address needs for continued and expanded services. Our goal is to preserve the existing hospital district boundary and work with healthcare providers and others in Big Sky to significantly expand health and wellness services rather than division. Let's focus on developing a well-funded and organized strategic plan for our future. For Bryant and Mary. And I believe Bryant is somewhere in the audience, but I haven't. There he is. Thank you. Thank you. The last piece of business here this evening, and that is, this is a proposal, again, that if you are a Firelight Meadows resident or homeowner, that you will see on your ballot. The rest of us will not see this. And that is to create a Firelight Meadows water and sewer district. At least 40% of the registered voters will need to vote positive for this. And for the initiative to pass. The residents of the Big Sky Firelight Meadows neighborhood will have an opportunity to establish their own water and sewer district in the upcoming election. At least 40%, as I've shared. And without this vote of positive to pass this, they will end up paying significant money out of their own pockets as opposed to being able to get grants to be able to help offset this. That's how I understand it from what I read within these. And there are some individuals here from Firelight this evening that will be in the lobby after that you are welcome to ask further questions of should you be a Firelight resident or someone just interested. Again, your ballots were mailed. You should have them already. If not, shortly. Mail them in by Tuesday, April 30th. And if any of you receive a damaged ballot, something you can't, in fact, use, you need to request another one by the date of our elections, May 7th. I'd like to thank all of you for coming, for staying, and for being here to listen to our candidates. This is an incredible opportunity to get to hear from all of those who did sit up here in front of you and let you know why they would like to serve. So, thank you all.